So this is left-handed one pass brioche with reversible decreases. So this one's going to be a reversible left-handed decrease. You can see I've done one over here. This decrease, come up and lean towards the left. So this will be the continuing branch, and this one will sort of merge into it. And if I flip it over, I'm going to flip this way because all of my yarn is getting very messy. We can see these are our pearl columns and they're going to do exactly the same thing. So this one, the inside one's going to merge out, and this one's going to come in and merge into it. So our pattern is going to continue exactly the same on the front and on the back side of this work. So I'm going to show you how to merge these two columns together. We're just going to need a cable needle. So what we're going to do is going to take this column and merge it with this column here, but we just need to get this pearl stitch out of the way for a moment so we can merge those together, and then once that's done we can merge these two pearl columns together for the far side. So I've gotten to that point in the work that I actually want to show you this time, so we're good to go. And all of those messy yarns out of the way. So I'm going to start by knitting normally, or brioche knitting as normal. So I'm going to make sure all of our yarns are at the front of the work, put that out of the way and knit. This is where I'm just going to pop that pearl yarn as well as this entire pearl stitch out of the way. So I'm just going to pop it onto the cable needle here, slip it pearlwise, and I'm just going to park that at the back there to keep it safe. So that's our pearl stitch. That'll give us plenty of time to deal with this knit stitch at the front, which is nice and easy leaning this way. So I'm just going to slip that new stitch that I've just knit back onto the right needle and pass over the next knit stitch. Pass it straight over. Okay, and then pass that new knit stitch back over onto the left needle. And that is it. We have done the knit stitches. Now we're ready to deal with the pearl stitches at the back there. So we can put that stitch back onto the right needle. That's where it needs to be. So again, we'll set up these yarns so that we're ready to purl. Make sure that everything is brought to the front. We're going to make sure that this yarn over is in place properly as well. So now that new knit stitch that we've just done at the decrease with has got a yarn over, and our knit yarn is at the front as well. And then we just need to join these two together. So we're going to purl the same as we did with the first one. I'm going to purl that one and make sure that pearl yarn stays at the front. Pretty sure I've said that in every one of these videos, just make sure the pearl yarn always stays at the front and everything will be just fine. We just need to flip this one around. If we just yarn it, if we just pass it over as it is, we'll end up with a twisted stitch on the back here. So we just need to untwist it first, if that makes sense. So we're just going to slip it knitwise over to the left needle and then purlwise back to the right needle, and we'll see it's just sitting backwards. Very obvious with that yarn over, instead of going from the front to the back like it's supposed to. It now sits from the back to the front, but it does mean it will sit perfectly once we move that new stitch forward and pass it over. And then new stitch goes back to the left hand needle. Make sure everything is nice and tight. All of our yarn overs are in the right spot. And we can see that we've got this lovely left leaning increase already visible on this side. And if we flip it over to what is now the back, we also have that lovely leaning, left leaning decrease happening on what is the back side. Sometimes they can sort of sit behind each other, so if you're worried about it, before you go on doing anything, just pop your cable needle in there and make sure you can bring that stitch up to the front so it's sitting in front of its yarn over like it's supposed to. If you're worried about it, that does come out with blocking or even just a good wash. But before you go, oh, that looks weird, I'm going to unstitch that, don't. Just poke at it first. Usually fixes it. But that is your left leaning decrease. That's the wrong side. We can see it coming up and leaning to the left. And over on the right side. Same again, we are coming up and leaning to the left.